Whatever happened to Dutch? Today we're taking a look at the 1987 film Predator, because I was curious to know what happened to Dutch when he got in that helicopter. Coming at you right now.
Get to the chopper!
Hey, all wild coming at you, and if you're like me, you're pretty curious to know what happened to Dutch when he got in that helicopter at the end of Predator. I've seen Predator a lot of times. It's one of my favorite action films. It's got a great cast of characters, one awesome creature design, and it's got the best bro handshake I have ever seen in any film. But my curiosity stems with what does actually happen with Arnold Schwarzenegger's character Dutch once he gets in that helicopter. And there is an answer. It lies within the Dark Horse comics series. They did a series of comics based on the Predator series, and there's an actual direct sequel to the movie Predator. Now our story takes place with it directly after the blast, and Dutch gets picked up by the helicopter and is basically rushed to a hospital to be treated for what we call radiation poisoning, but the symptoms and causes are kind of unknown. We can safely assume that it's from the blast that happened at the end of the Predator movie that kind of gave Dutch his illnesses or his sicknesses. Now, while Dutch is bedridden and being sick and is being taken care of by the hospital, he's also investigated and interrogated by Detective Keyes, which, if you guys remember, is portrayed by Gary Busey in Predator 2. While Gary Busey's character Keyes is interrogating Dutch in the hospital, he basically presses him to find out what went on in that South American jungle. You see, Keyes is very interested in finding out all the details because he works for a task force. And that task force is the Other Worlds Lifeform Task Force. And what their main objective is to actually capture one of the hunters or the alien life forms, which you see in the movie Predator 2, because they want to study the life form and they want to learn and develop their weapon technology themselves. Now, during the interrogation and the investigations, Dutch doesn't give up much, and eventually he escapes from the hospital to where his whereabouts become unknown. And due to the lack of evidence or due to the lack of information, Keyes has no choice but to close the case, and it kind of goes cold. And this kind of moves into Predator 2. Now, this is pretty much all the information that we're given about Dutch. And Dark Horse does continue the story arc, but it's taken from Dutch's brother's side, actually, known as Schaffer in the comic book series. And Predator 2 does kind of dabble in with the same story arc, but the comic book actually goes a lot more in depth and there's a lot more to it. I recommend reading it if you want to take a look. I'll put a link in the description below so you can get to it. So that way, if you are interested, you can look there. But this is all we're given about Dutch himself. Now, there is a tidbit of information that is missing from the story here because Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually signed on to do Predator 2, but dropped out to do Terminator with James Cameron. So it kind of makes you wonder what actually would have happened in the story of Predator 2 if Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dutch was in it. Well, we might get our answer because there is an upcoming film that is actually directed by Shane Black, who portrayed Hawkins in the original film. He is writing and directing this one, so maybe he'll bring back Dutch in this new film called The Predator. I can only hope that they'll bring Arnold back, although it doesn't show him signed on just yet, but we can keep our fingers crossed because, as we know, Dutch is the best character. Hey, hopefully you guys found this video interesting because I was actually curious to know what did happen to Dutch. You know, this movie is one of my favorites, and feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what was your favorite part or your favorite quote. If you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a nice thumbs up. You can also click that bell so you know when my videos go live. And don't be afraid to follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Snapchat. Links are all below. I will see you guys in the next video coming up real shortly. If you guys have any suggestions on what you'd like me to find out for you that you might be curious to know, make sure you leave a comment below too. I will see you guys all later. Take care and peace.